oftentimes business people think that they shouldn't be on TikTok creating content because they're not seeing creators like them. But the reason is because they don't know how to create.
Well, hello there and welcome back into the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast. My name is Sam Hind and I'm here to help you grow your business using social media as the powerful tool that it is to reach more people, generate more leads, and convert more sales for your business. Now, I have been getting so many people asking me, Sam, how do we and should we be using TikTok? And I'm going to be really honest, I have avoided this conversation for the most part because there is so many questions in the air about this platform right now. Now, while we know it's an amazing platform to build on, the question remains, how do we do it? Where do we start? And should we be spending much time on it? All of these questions have been answered in this episode. You are super welcome. I decided to pull in the top expert herself, the incredible Keenya Kelly. Now, Keenya is an amazing individual that I had the opportunity to meet in person a couple of years ago at Social Media Marketing World, one of the biggest social media marketing conferences globally that is held every year in San Diego. Now, Keenya I love where she's come from because she is somebody who, like me, didn't necessarily grow up with technology in her back pocket, but instead she decided to adopt it to grow her business. Now, Keenya also has had extensive experience in the direct selling industry herself, which makes her the perfect person to speak into using TikTok for growing a successful business. But to give you a little bit of background about Keenya, not only does she run her very own organization, but she has single-handedly grown a business to having over 500,000 followers and generating over $2 million through utilizing vertical video alone. She is passionate about and incredibly skilled at building marketing funnels using video as an incredible tool to generate leads. And she talks in this episode about some of the strategies she uses to do exactly that. She helps many, many people all over the globe to grow their business every single day using this platform. But one thing I want to be clear about, and she's going to talk about here, is that it's not just about using TikTok. It's how you use it in conjunction with your other tools. So I don't want to give too much more away here. I know that you're going to love this episode. She has got to be by far one of the most fun people I've ever interviewed. So I know you're going to get a few laughs as we go through. You're going to love this beautiful human being, but you're also going to get loads of tips. So if you want to know not only how do I use TikTok, but where do I start and what are some key strategies I need to know about right now in 2024, and of course, what's coming on this platform, then this is definitely the episode for you to tune into. Welcome back into the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast and welcome, Keenya. I am so excited to have you here today.
I am so excited to be here.
It's taken us ages to make this work. And I feel like all good things take a little bit of time. So I can't wait to see what comes of this conversation today. But welcome on in. So great to have you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm excited to chat about all the things that we plan to talk about and all the things that we don't.
Yeah, we'll see where this goes. I have no doubt it's going to go off in lots of crazy directions. I know that you're a lot of fun. But look, Keenya, you and I met, I'm going to say it was probably about a year and a half ago now at Social Media Marketing World in San Diego. Actually, I think we were kind of connecting a little bit before that, but we officially met in person there. I made sure that I brought you some Australian Tim Tams, so I know that you know just how great Australian food is.
Yes.
But Keenya, I mean, we're going to be talking about TikTok today, but can you share with our audience, we're going to hear all about you. I want to hear all about you. I know that you've got an amazing story, but share with us first one fun fact about Keenya Kelly.
Yeah, one fun fact is my favorite drink in the whole wide world is two things. One, kiwi strawberry Snapple. Like, I've been drinking that drink since 1996. And I am like, if you want to make me very happy, kiwi, strawberry, Snapple, but I also don't drink alcohol. So when my friends go out to drink, I always get a Sprite with grenadine, which is called a Shirley Temple. And so you can always
Yes.
bank on me to have a Shirley Temple.
Or a kiwi strawberry Snapple, one
Or
of the two.
kiwi, strawberry, Snapple.
That is so
Yes.
funny. This is not a drink that we have in Australia, by the way, that I know of. I've never heard of this before.
Yeah, it's probably
Um,
terrible for you.
yeah, have you been to Australia? I didn't ask you that
No.
question before.
No, I took my very first international trip last month to England for a conference in like
Yes, I remember
Mexico,
you
but I've
telling
never
me.
been anywhere else.
Okay, because I had to laugh. I love watching your videos. I know I'll always have a giggle when I watch your videos on LinkedIn or wherever you show up. And I remember you putting a post up saying, "I need like I think what you were saying was you were fairly stuck in your ways with the food that you've eaten. You were trying to try new foods because you were going to a new place, and hence why I sent you the Tim Tams. I was like, I'm going to make sure that
Yes.
you've experienced
Yeah.
some food from different cultures. How did you find the food in the UK?
I struggled. I was on the struggle bus. But the good thing is that like it wasn't like things were bad. It was that I had to ask myself, remind myself this is not going to taste like it tastes at home, but be prepared to make it different. So like I knew to get fish and chips, but I was like this may not be what I think. So
I
I
was
asked the
about to
waiter
say,
for
did you
for
try
me it
fish and
wasn't
chips?
seasoned, so I asked for hot sauce and he was like looking at me like I had three heads, but I was like I need
Yeah.
hot sauce.
Well, I think you would get looked at the same way in Australia, to be fair. So hang on, when you say seasoned, we assume salt and pepper. You're not talking salt and pepper, are you talking hot
No,
sauce?
no. I'm talking garlic powder, onion powder, Cajun. There's like
So,
yeah,
okay, all right, because Australia and the UK are fairly similar in a lot of our
yeah.
food etiquette, and so when it comes to fish and chips, the fish and chips here would be very similar to there, which is
Mhm.
it's typically battered with
Yeah.
chips, and you've got salt that you put on afterwards. You generally do that yourself, but
Yes.
and then lemon, but you don't put all those other things with it. That's hilarious.
Yeah, the
So
batter has all the flavor and then you fry it with the fish.
that's right. Well, I mean, but you obviously need different flavor. That's where you're going with this, right?
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so what did you love most about the UK?
I loved how everybody seemed very friendly. Well, first of all, it was easy to navigate because everybody spoke English.
Yes.
People were kind, even though I didn't understand their accent. They didn't understand mine. Everybody was trying. I loved how everybody was accepting that even though I am a true American, acting like an American, they didn't make me feel bad. I mean, because when you see things on TV, they always go, those darn Americans. But they didn't make me feel that way. I mean, like,
Yeah.
obviously, that's just television, but they were just very, very welcoming. And it seemed
Yeah.
like my personality was a bit much for the group because like everybody's fairly like chill or whatever, but I am very extroverted and dynamic and expressive. So it was really
Yeah.
cool to just watch how they as a whole were responding to me just showing up the way that I am.
Yeah, I love that. And so have you been anywhere since internationally? You've been talking about taking a few trips.
Not yet. I actually just pitched to speak at a conference in Portugal. And so we're trying to
Ooh.
get picked up there. Yeah. And then I'm trying to get picked up at a conference for December in Bangkok, even if I have to pay for it. I'm like, if I can
Yeah.
go to a conference where people know that I'm coming, that means I'm going to meet people who can help me navigate going to like being in Bangkok. So I'm like, I want to go to all these places, but
So
I'm trying to,
basically you've just got the travel bug. That's what's happened. You've
yeah,
started.
yeah.
Yeah, all right. She's ready to roll. All right, next stop, Australia, okay, with the
I know,
crocodiles and
right?
the
You gotta,
snakes and the
I got to
spiders.
pitch to get there, you know?
Yeah, we'll work on it. We'll work on it.
Yeah.
Maybe from this podcast, there'll be someone listening that will go, we
Let's
need Keenya
go.
here.
Mhm.
Guys, she likes Tim Tams, so we're already
I
winning,
do.
okay? Yeah,
They're
better
really
than fish
good.
and chips.
I like the fish
Don't
and
give
chips as long as you got hot sauce.
Don't give a Vegemite. We'll talk about that one later. All my listeners are like, "Oh, heck." They know what I'm talking about. It's all right. We'll get to that
Okay.
later. We'll
It's
ease in.
funny.
We'll ease into the Australian cuisine. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Kenya, look, I mean, one of the things I love most about you, and the thing that drew me to you, was not just your passion for using TikTok for growing business. We're going to talk about this because I know lots of people right now, and we're going to have heaps of listeners tuning into this episode going, oh my gosh, tell me all the things TikTok I need to know. But before we get to that, you've got such a passion for women in business. And this is the thing for me that stood out about you, because I can see that you wholeheartedly care about seeing women be successful. I would love to know where that passion comes from. Like, I get you're a woman and, you want other women to do well, but not everyone is as passionate about women in business as you are. I'd love to know, where did that stem from, and what's your mission for what you're trying to achieve globally as well?
For sure. So, I mean, it definitely first starts with the fact that I am female, trying to navigate in the world of running your own business. But I also, like, I've had a job for like a lot of my life. And even
Yeah.
when I was in the network marketing industry a lot, the most successful people at our jobs or in network marketing when in my time were all male. And I love them. I love males, but there was just something that made me feel like I couldn't do it because I couldn't see it. And then once I started my own business, then still seeing how it was very male dominated, which is not a bad thing, but there's just this part of you that is like, there's these things about me that this person can't relate to. And I'm trying to get
Mm,
this help with that. So then I started down this journey of like, once we started creating content and teaching business owners, I really enjoyed working with women more because I understood them. Now, I love working with everybody, but there was a me that was just like it was just synergy. I understood what she was going through because
yeah.
I'm her. And
Mm,
then of course, once I started seeing like I'm a very confident and bold person, but I would encounter so many more women who were just not that and for all these different reasons and I just kind of started to realize that women like them need women like me to give them permission, unconsciously or consciously, and they can go and become great. Not because we want them to replace men. I just want them to become the best version of
the best
them
version of
with
them. Yeah.
men if they want to. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I so agree with that. And I feel like you and I have got so much in common in that space. Kenya, I'm like, let's just come to the network marketing thing for a sec.
Yeah.
Just, I'm like definitely going to get to the TikTok thing, guys, but I just,
Yeah.
I want to know a little bit about your background with network marketing, because prior to us chatting today, I didn't actually realize that you had such a successful background in network marketing, but you actually built yourself a six-figure business in this
Mhm.
space.
I did, yeah. So I got started in network marketing in 2002. I was in college and there was a guy that I had met. He was trying to recruit me in this company. It was called Prepaid Legal back then.
Mm,
And I just did not have any desire because my dad did a company called Excel. And
yes.
all I had known about that was it was a pyramid scheme because that's what the words you were hearing as
Mm,
buzz around the house. And so I was just like, no, I'm not doing that. But the job that I was working, I just kept being frustrated and frustrated and frustrated. And this guy just kept calling. Finally, one day I just said, I'm going to call him and let's just see. And I just told him, I was just like, look, if you take my money, I'm going to come for you. But they recruited me and they really, I mean, the level of mentoring that I received in my network marketing company is beyond because they forced me to read books. Like they were not going to work with me unless I read all these different books.
mhm,
So I was reading more books about for network marketing and leadership, John Maxwell books, than I
mm,
was reading my own college books, you know. And I built a very successful team in my first company. I was also like named the top 3 trainer in the entire company because
wow.
I was doing the monthly trainings for the whole state of Kentucky. And so I went through the ranks. Yeah.
Wow. And so, coming to today, well, where did TikTok come into all of this? How I feel like there's got to be a story there. How did you get into TikTok? And how did it all start? Let's just go there.
For sure. So in 2016, I started teaching online,
Mm,
and I had a corporate job, but I was wanting to build my own business, and I got into the coaching industry And that's where I started. I had a brand design agency, and I used social media to help me connect with people and build an audience and make money. And then when 2020 happened, we knew something was happening in the world. We just didn't know what was happening. And I'm somebody, I pray to God about everything. I'm asking strategies for everything. And I started asking, what is happening? What do you want me to do? And all I kept hearing him tell me was I needed to get on TikTok. And I had only heard that word like years ago because nobody was talking about it. And
Mm-hmm.
so for me, it didn't really make any sense, but I was used to praying. And so I was like, if I got this wrong, fine, I'll just be on this app wasting my time. But if I
Mm,
got this right, something big is about to happen that he's trying to tell me. And so I
mm-hmm.
spent the whole year of 2020 just trying to learn the app while nobody was talking about it. And by the
Mm-hmm.
end of that year, I started to explode and everybody wanted me to tell them how to make it work.
Right. Okay. So, how now? Let's talk a little bit about strategy for TikTok now, because I think there's a lot of confusion around. Is this the right space for me to grow my business? Now, you said it obviously took you a year to kind of start that,
Mhm.
to get that momentum going, and I'm guessing that that's because you didn't have someone who was able to show you the strategy
Correct.
that worked, right? I mean, you've
Yep.
now figured that out the hard way, which is to figure
Hmm.
out what doesn't work. Um,
Hmm.
First question around this, though, is TikTok right for all businesses? And how do you know if it's right for yours?
For sure. So yeah, it took me a long time to learn TikTok because there was no one teaching it. So I didn't know the
Yeah.
buttons and stuff. But today, anybody can grow an account on TikTok. And here's the way I always position TikTok to people is that if you poll a crowd of people and you ask them, how do you guys watch content on TikTok? Majority of the room is going to raise their hands. And then I'll say, well, of you guys that watch content on TikTok, who here is posting? Majority of the room's hands are no longer up.
Yeah.
And I explained to them that the reason why they don't, that like oftentimes business people think that they shouldn't be on TikTok creating content because they're not seeing creators like them. But the
Mm-hmm.
reason is because they don't know how to create. So they're there and they're watching content because the room has just proved it when they rose their hands, but they're not seeing content in their sphere because they're not posting. So when I look at if a business should be on TikTok, I don't care whatever it is. Yes, the answer is yes, because you've got millions and millions of people that log onto this app every single day to consume. They want to be
Mm-hmm.
entertained in whatever area where they want to be entertained in. And our job, like if that's you, if you're building an MLM, a network marketing business, you're trying to reach people. Like you're like,
Yeah.
how can I reach people who need what I have that also may be interested in making money?
Mm-hmm.
That's the name of the game when you're building your network marketing business. And so you've got like if people are there on TikTok consuming, those same people would have an interest in whatever it is you're selling and making money. Period. People just kind of they still look at TikTok as this goofy, funny dancing app that it was in 2020, but it is like completely changed. Even right now, TikTok is changing. And I'm like diving into what's happening right now because it's changing again in a good
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. So let's talk about that entertainment factor, because I think that is the real challenge for a lot of people. I
Hmm.
know it was the challenge for me as well, which is, if I'm trying to grow a business and I'm trying to sell product or a business opportunity to people, am I wasting my time showing up to entertain people just to get eyes on my feed? How do I use it effectively so that I'm not just entertaining, but I'm actually converting?
Yeah. So it's a couple things. One, I remember when I was in network marketing and there was a guy who called it edutainment, where you're educating while you entertain.
I love
So
that.
there's the
Yeah.
one opportunity where you are using entertainment as a way to educate people on what it is that you have. Like
Yep.
there is a lady who teaches about menopause, and instead of most of her content isn't her teaching. Most of her content is she's acting out all the things that we experience with menopause. Like
Yeah.
she'll act out brain fog. She'll act out a hot flash. She'll act out
Yeah.
anxiety. She'll act out all these different things in her
Mhm.
content, and then she shares with you, and this tool or this is how we can help you with dealing with those issues or whatever.
Mhm.
Now, in addition to that, there are a lot of business owners that never do any entertainment, right? Like they never do anything goofy, but it's really about every time you are posting on TikTok and any social media, that even if you are just educating, you're standing there and you're educating, you still have to educate in a way that's not super boring to the
Yep.
person that's watching. Because when people log on to social media, they log on for their own reasons. They don't log on for us. We are the commercial to their entertainment. So if they're going to stay and watch the commercial, then we have got to learn, how do I create content that educates them? So like I've got a video right now that's doing extremely well on TikTok, and all it is me standing up in my office. There's a whiteboard, and I'm pulling little papers off the whiteboard, teaching. I'm teaching point number one, paper comes off. Point number two, paper comes off. I don't dance, I don't sing, but the way that I set up that video has made people drawn into that video, and they are
Mhm.
watching and they are learning from me. So
Yeah.
if whatever it is that you are selling, it's like, this is what I am like. Okay, so for example, there may be 10 different types of content you can make on TikTok. For example, you can then say, I am not doing 8 of 10 of these. I am not doing those, but I can do these two. Well, then
Yep.
your job is to go, how can I use these two styles of content, capture my audience's attention and keep them there, which may not be dancing or doing anything goofy, but it's just learning what works for you.
Mhm. Yep. I think that's really, really powerful, Kenya, because a lot of people right now are probably thinking, I've not gone to TikTok because I don't feel comfortable, dancing in front of a mirror and, singing and doing goofy things and acting out menopause, which
Mhm.
is, like it's not that it's not a great strategy. It's just that it
Yeah,
doesn't necessarily feel congruent and comfortable for everyone to do. And so the question
correct.
is, how do you show up then if you
Yeah.
don't feel like you are very interesting and entertaining? And I think that's probably the story for a lot of
Hmm.
people listening in today is
Hmm.
I don't feel like I'm very entertaining. And
Hmm.
so, and by the way, you are, but we'll get to that. But but what I want to know is, what are some of your getting started tips for
Hmm.
somebody who currently hasn't got a presence on TikTok, who's thinking, maybe I should be starting to get myself out there?
Yeah. So my number one thing we tell all of our clients is, first you got to download the app. so
Okay, we're going to, yeah, great.
step number one,
Step
period.
1,
Okay.
download
Uh,
the app. Okay.
yeah. Second thing is you want to go and search for
Uh-huh.
what it is that you do. So if, let's just say you sell health and wellness products, and is vitamins, then let's just say it's liquid vitamins. Then you want to go and search liquid vitamins. And
Yep.
then you want to start binge watching the content of people creating content around liquid vitamins. And
Mhm.
you're going to see what's the most popular videos about liquid vitamins. And you're going to see which ones you are willing to create, right? You're going to see
Yep.
some where you go, I would never do that. But you're also going to see the ones that you are willing to do, right? Or let's just say
Mhm.
you have products that are makeup products. Well, you can go and search, liquid Botox or whatever it is. You put it on your eyes
Yep.
and it does a Botox. You can search that on TikTok, and then you're going to see all these different content styles. So oftentimes we're seeing what's on the For You feed that TikTok is feeding us, but we really need to feed ourselves what we need to
Yep.
actually see. So what I would encourage you to do that, and then start liking those different videos and look at some of those creators and binge watch some of their content. That's going to
Yep.
start giving you like a blueprint of what works in your industry according to what you're willing to do.
Yeah, I love it. I'm going to put a little disclaimer in there as well, because I think, this is one of the strategies we tell people to use for Facebook and Instagram,
Hmm.
which is you need to look at what gets your attention, what you like, and ask yourself, what is it about that piece of content that got my
Correct.
attention? Because you don't want to have to reinvent the wheel. So I think that's
Correct.
really solid advice. But my disclaimer is this: put a timer on. Because it is a rabbit hole. You'll be on there for hours and have wasted not wasted, but you will have used oodles of time that
Oh
you
yeah.
potentially don't have. So when I do this process, and I think it's a really important part of the process, I 100% agree with you. I set a timer for, say, 30 minutes or 15 minutes
Hmm.
or whatever I have, so that I don't get sucked in, because
Yep.
suddenly you're going, oh my gosh, my to-do list hasn't been touched, and now yeah.
Correct.
So that's just my little. I'm gonna like
That's
add that
true.
in there, Kenya.
Mhm.
I know that you've never done that, but for me, it's
All the time.
you go to Facebook, you're like, I'm just gonna watch one reel, and then 30 reels later,
You've
you
just been
pull
there and you're like,
yourself
"What is
out of
going
the
on? It's
abyss.
dark outside," and
Yeah. Oh my gosh, where are the kids? Yeah, no, I don't do
Exactly.
that. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's it.
Um, all right, Kenya, what are some of the biggest TikTok no-nos right now?
Mhm. A big no-no is, let's just say, okay, so if you're someone and you're creating Facebook Reels, a big no-no is don't reshare not Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels. Don't
Mhm.
reshare Instagram Reels to TikTok because the platform is extremely sensitive and it knows that that video came from an Instagram Reel. Even if the
Yeah,
watermark is not there, you are going to see where that content is going to bomb. It is not going to move. Nothing is going to happen. Okay.
yeah,
Another no-no is if you're going to create content, let's just say you choose to do something like a TikTok live. It's very important if you have children that you keep your children out of the room. Because if your kids are not 18 years old and they show up in your live, even if it's 3 seconds, your live stream is going to immediately get banned. You're not going to be able to go live
wow,
because TikTok
okay.
is protecting children. So they don't know
Right.
why that kid is in the stream. So AI will just ban it immediately. So you 100% want to keep your kids out of TikTok live, like
Yep, okay.
hands down.
Yep,
Another thing is, let's just say you're in CBD for TikTok. TikTok does not like CBD. They don't want you talking about CBD on TikTok. I think it's very similar to like Facebook ads and stuff too. They're not really friendly to talking about CBD. Um, and then another thing with TikTok is, oh yeah, TikTok does not want to hear you say link in bio. They do not
okay.
want to hear you say link in bio. And the
Yep,
truth is, that's on all social media
yeah,
platforms. At this
yep,
point, if you're saying link in bio, all your content is being suppressed.
yep,
So you've got to find more creative ways to get people to
yeah.
actually go to the link in bio without saying that, because otherwise, your content's not going to do well.
There's a lot with links right now, right? I mean, I know
Mhm.
it was like a big thing even at Social Media Marketing World almost 2 years ago now, where they were
Mhm.
saying stop links, just stop links,
Mhm.
because links are on all platforms. All content is bombing when you put links in there.
Mhm.
That this year, and just a few months ago, they just reported that Meta have said that of all of the performing content, over it was more than, I think it was nearly it was 99% in groups, but 97% of content that performed on pages did not contain a link. Um,
Correct.
and I'm assuming that this is, TikTok is down that same road where it's like, we don't want people to leave the platform. I mean, you got to think about it. It makes
Correct.
sense. The
Exactly.
platform wants people to stay on their platform, right?
Mhm.
Um, and so it's interesting you said about Instagram across to TikTok. What about TikTok across to other platforms? Because I've heard really mixed information about this.
Mhm. Yeah, so it's definitely different at different times. So I have times where I will have a TikTok video, I will download it without the watermark,
Yep.
and I'll put it on Facebook Reels. And sometimes it does well. But what we're
Yep.
starting to experience is that we're starting to experience where it's not working as well. Because Instagram too, they want you spending as much time on the platform there as well. So one of the things that we've been doing is, one, we've been just kind of filming everything in our camera roll,
Yep.
and we've been doing all of our edits in CapCut. That way, it can go everywhere.
Anyway. Yep.
But in the times when I actually do create a TikTok video, and I know I'm going to want to put it on Reels, before I hit post, I download it without the watermark, without any text on the screen. And
Mm-hmm.
then I will bring it to Instagram and add Instagram's text features, and it makes it feel like it's Instagram's own
Yeah.
video, and then the
Yeah.
video continues to perform well. So it's
Yeah.
some extra steps,
Yeah.
but I think it's best if you want to save as much time as possible. It's filming in your camera, editing on CapCut, and then distributing.
Yeah. So you will share the same content essentially on, TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, but you are uploading organically to each platform, and you're using
Correct.
that platform's features, right? So
Correct.
you're using
Yes.
the tools within. Yeah. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, So, what would be your top three strategies for someone that needs to implement TikTok for success in their business this year? If you were to give three strategies right now that you think are really great strategies to avoid them having to, try and figure it out like you did, they want to get some quick success here, some quick wins.
Yeah.
What for you are the top 2024 strategies for TikTok?
For sure. So I was just talking about this earlier today. I'm seeing like three really top things that are working extremely well on TikTok.
Hmm.
One, TikTok's number one thing they're pushing is TikTok Shop. Like hands down, even though we all sell our own things, TikTok really wants you promoting products inside of TikTok Shop.
Hmm.
So, one of the things that I am doing very intentionally and strategically is I have bought some things from TikTok Shop, and once a week or once every 2 weeks, I'll make a video talking about that particular product that's in TikTok Shop. I'll do the
Hmm.
link, and I'm not really trying to make the money from TikTok Shop. I'm just trying to give TikTok what it wants because it
Yes.
wants me creating content around TikTok Shop. And when I do that, I see the rest of my content perform well. So I'm like,
Okay.
okay,
Yep.
once a week, once every 2 weeks, I'll give TikTok what it wants there. And it's great products. Like I got this microphone from TikTok Shop, and it works great for my phone. So I'm like, sure, I'll promote it.
Yep.
The second thing is TikTok wants more longer content. Okay. So yes, you can do a 15-second video, 30-second video, but if you are doing longer content on TikTok, you are having more success. And
Hmm.
it's two forms of longer content. So one is regular vertical content, and it's a video that is 1 minute or longer, but also filming horizontal content. So you film horizontally, you use there's a feature called rotate where you rotate the video and it shows up horizontally,
Yep.
because TikTok is pushing horizontal content
Hmm.
because they are preparing for people to watch TikTok on television screens. Because most people don't want to watch TikTok vertical; they want something full
Yeah,
in their
they're fit.
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're rewarding people who are creating horizontal long form content. But then the third
All right.
thing is still TikTok live. It's
Yeah.
like right now on TikTok, for every 3 videos you see on the For You page, you will see one live stream. They are
Yeah.
pushing live stream more than ever because people stay on the platform longer when
Mhm.
you're on live stream. So it's like
Yep.
those are the three big things.
That is fascinating about the horizontal content, I gotta say. I just wanna come back to that for a sec because
Mhm.
the other platforms are all going the other way. They've all just,
Mhm.
it went from horizontal content on Facebook to, of course, with stories and reels, you want to go vertical
Mhm.
with your videos. And I noticed, watching Greg and I over time, initially it was all videos had to be recorded like this.
Yeah.
We've and instructing each other, hold the camera that way. And then the next thing you know, it's everything is both. So it's we'll do one that
Mhm.
way, do another one that way. So we had
Yep.
both, every photo we took, if we'd have to laugh if you saw us getting a stranger to take a photo, it was, can you flip the camera the other way now and take it that way
Yeah.
too? So we had content for all the different locations. But Facebook are obviously, they've just announced that they are bringing out the full screen experience, which means
Mhm.
vertical again. It's like all this focus on vertical, and they're going to do it horizontal. But
Yeah.
what they're saying is that you're going to optimize most of your content if you go vertical. Um, so it's really interesting. We're seeing such a big shift, but now, of course, TikTok's saying, "Hey, horizontal, let's play with that." So we're back to
Yeah.
let's do it both ways. Let's do everything both ways. If you are
Exactly.
doing a video though, Kenya, in all seriousness, given where things are at right now, you're using all the different platforms. How are you
Mhm.
recording? Are you going vertical or horizontal? What's your strategy there?
I'm still doing more vertical than I am
Yeah.
horizontal,
Yep.
because even though the platforms want more horizontal, the the behavior of people is to hold their phones like this. They're
Yeah.
holding it vertically.
Yep.
So if that is what people are doing, like natural, then I want to continue to give people what they
Yep.
want because the platform can demand whatever they want, but it's all about the user who's actually giving or who's actually saying what's
Yeah.
actually going to happen here. Now they are doing the whole picture in picture thing where it's like if you
Yeah.
can watch a TikTok video and I can continue watching something else on my phone while a TikTok video is playing. So all that is happening. but I do one long horizontal video a week and then more vertical because the
Yeah.
user is still holding their phones in that way.
I mean, I would say that there's a difference between if I think about my own behavior, which videos I flip horizontal, and there are definitely some that I will flip my phone for. But I
For
think
sure.
it's the style of content that you're looking at, and potentially
Correct.
that sort of teaching style content that you and I tend to do, and that
Yeah.
maybe even the edutainment content that we're used to seeing, that vertical works fine for that sort of content. But when you're looking at, say, someone speaking on stage, or
Mhm.
maybe a flashback to a sitcom or something like that, um,
Yeah.
you might flip your phone, because you're used to, it's like that
Yeah.
movie experience. So
For sure.
I think there's a I mean, for me, I know there's a difference between the style of content that I will flip for.
Oh,
um
100%. If I'm watching a movie on social media, I definitely wanna see it full screen. But
yeah,
I think that most people aren't they're if they're watching content on social, they're
yeah,
doing shorter than longer. So
yes,
for the longer content, we will definitely flip, but
yeah.
we watch more short than we do long.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think that's a really good point. What about trend predictions, in the year to come? Do you have any predictions of what's going to change, what's going to come to TikTok, what might be happening? And, the other platforms too, from that perspective, it's not just about TikTok, it's also about your entire marketing plan, right? Because you're not
Mhm.
like, you don't show up just on TikTok. You're showing up in
Right.
lots of different places. So what are your
For sure.
predictions around the platforms, specifically TikTok, and how they're going to interact with each other in the coming year?
For sure. So I've been saying these two things for a long time. One of the things is DMs, direct messaging on TikTok. So for
Mhm,
many years, like you could not direct message people, first off. And then you could only direct message people if you follow them and they follow you. Then
mhm.
it became people who followed you or whatever. And I kept saying that this is getting ready to open up very similar to how the DMs are on all social platforms
Yep,
because TikTok was missing that really big key moment. And so now you're able to get all these message requests from everybody, brands and people. But also, what just recently happened is when you do a TikTok story, now instead of people commenting on the story, it's actually sending them a DM, very similar to
to
Instagram stories.
Instagram.
So
Mhm.
if you do a TikTok story, it's going to your DM. But last week, what has just happened is that now when you go to actual TikTok videos, you can like a video, you can comment on a video, and at the bottom of the screen, you can actually send a person a DM. So now the DMs are opening up even the more. And I think there's going to be more DM automation that's going to come up.
Yep,
And I've been saying that for the last 2 years, but I'm watching it
yep,
already kind of begin to happen. And then the second big thing that most people would say, I don't know about that, is a feature called TikTok Series. Now, TikTok Series is down and it's been down for some months. And it says they're going through scheduled maintenance. And I think that what's happening is that very similar to how TikTok has been trying to encourage us to do more longer horizontal content. I think one of those reasons is because when TikTok Series opens up, I think it's going to be horizontal content through a subscription base
yep,
because TikTok Live is you're able to get people to subscribe to your lives and they're paying a monthly fee. TikTok makes something and the creator makes something. And TikTok series used to be where you can put content behind a paywall and the most they can pay is 189. But it makes sense to make that subscription like Patreon, like Instagram subscriptions, like all that. And I think that it's going to encourage content creators to do more longer content like
mhm.
movies and skits and things of that nature where people will pay a higher or subscription or whatever, where the creator will make more money and then TikTok. That's what I think. But, you know.
That's definitely going to open up a big can of worms. I think that's, like you said, good, bad. What do we think?
Mhm,
I think this whole paid subscription service thing is something that, like we've seen Facebook, of course, like, well, Meta, I should say,
mhm,
utilizing this over the last couple of years, and a lot of very mixed reviews around it. But it is
mhm.
becoming the norm pretty quickly. So
Yep.
it'll be very interesting to see what happens in that space. So,
Mhm.
um, I want to ask about something a little bit controversial now, and that is around and I didn't tell you about this question, so I'm just going to throw it out there. But I think there's a little bit of fear at the moment around, should I be building on TikTok given the bans in various locations and the talk about bans in various locations? What's your take on this?
My take is that we don't really know what's going to happen, and when President Trump was in office, he was the first president that was talking about banning TikTok, and
Mm,
then when he went out of office, then I guess the Democrats brought it back into play or whatever. So we really don't know what's going to happen, and the way that I think about things is that I'm not going to sit around and wait for something bad to happen. I'm going to keep
yeah,
operating life as usual, business as usual. And if something happens, then we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But one of the things that we've been telling our community is that you continue to build there. But like on any social media platform, we shouldn't be hanging our hats on social
on one.
media. We should be
Mm,
building a community and getting them off of the community. Now,
yeah.
TikTok is one of the fastest ways to grow a community. So I'm like,
Mhm,
build there, pull them off the platform, build there, pull them
mm,
off. And if the worst thing that happens is they get banned, like, okay, they get banned. But the thing about a
mm,
ban is
yeah,
that it doesn't like happen overnight. Like, let's just say that today the US government says TikTok is banned. Well, the app doesn't automatically get removed off our phones. That's not how it works. It gets removed out of the app store. So every time TikTok makes an update, we don't get the update. And it's going to take a long time for the app to stop working. Like I had a client today who her phone looked like she hasn't updated it in 5 years. Her app looked like she hadn't updated since she downloaded it, but it's
yep,
still working just fine. And so she just updated it today. So it's going to take a long time for the app to stop working. Like you can continue posting content and all that type of stuff, even if it gets banned. But I tell people don't wait for something bad to happen, because if it never happens, now you wasted a year, two
oh,
years,
yeah,
3 years,
yeah.
waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, one of my favorite quotes is, "When was the best time to plant a tree?" And it's 10 years ago, but the second best time is today.
Yeah.
And so, if you're sitting there going, "Oh, I haven't done anything yet. Is there any point starting?" Well, in 2 years, you'll be going, "I wish I'd started when I listened to that podcast that Sam and Keenya did, talking
Yeah.
about TikTok."
Yeah.
But I just want to touch on something you talked about there, because from a marketing perspective, and you are a business builder, you're a marketer, you're an entrepreneur, like anyone that will be listening to this podcast
Mhm.
wants to be growing a business. And you're talking about a strategy. You specialize right now in talking about a strategy that you think is a really powerful one for business, and it is. But
Mhm.
you, like any of us, would never say, and you've just said this, do not build on just one location. You want to be using it as a tool to get the connection, build the community, and grow your database. And
Mhm.
just, on that, do you have a couple of tips on how you use TikTok to grow your database and get them off TikTok? What do you do to do that?
For sure. So I'm very strategic. So on places like Instagram and Facebook, we can use DM automation tools. Like we use Go High Level, and we program the chat. We program a chat bot, and if somebody will comment a word, it'll send them a DM. So, for example, we have these 75 hooks for your next video. And so, if someone's on Instagram or Facebook, if they comment the word hooks, then what's going to happen is that they're going to get an automated message, and it'll ask them their name, their email address, and then a PDF will come into them in their DM on Instagram or Facebook. But
Hmm.
also, we use that tool Zapier to move
Yes.
them from social media to our email list. So that's the first thing. Now, with TikTok, because that DM automation tool doesn't work, we still take the same video that we posted on Facebook and Instagram that said comment the word hooks, right? And we post it on TikTok. Well, we'll get 100, 200, 300 people commenting the word hooks. Now we've got 300 people that we can follow up with, right? So, like this
Mhm.
week alone, I've got a video that's at 10,000 views on TikTok, and everybody is commenting the word hooks. So, I'm
Yep.
going to every single comment and I'm saying, hey, for these hooks, send me a DM or go to my profile. I don't say link in bio, or go to my profile
Yep.
and grab it there. Well, we got 300 people to opt into that in 7 days, because
Wow. Yeah.
yeah, they commented the word and then we just did the follow up, right? But
So
also
this
in
is
my
manual
profile,
follow up though at this point, right? You're
yes, it's
manually
manual at
sending
this
that.
point.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. And
But I
to
would
two
like my
directions.
thought process is like if I'm a business and I'm getting 300 emails, I'm like, of course I'm going to respond to 300
Yeah,
emails because
absolutely.
those are potential customers. So it's like it's the same
Yep.
opportunity there on TikTok. It just feels more laborsome, but I think we all would rather have 300 leads than nothing.
Yeah. Yeah,
So I'm like,
absolutely.
I want you to engage, and I can take my time commenting back to you. I can take my time there, but it's worth it.
Yeah. So, question with that, you're doing the same or similar process on Facebook, Instagram, and of course over on TikTok. Where at the moment are you seeing most leads coming from when you do this?
Most of these are coming from Facebook and Instagram because the DM automation tool. So
Yeah, it's
like
easier.
I like right now we're here together and I guarantee you there's at least 20 people that have triggered that bot on Instagram and Facebook and
Yeah.
it's working on our behalf. So
Yep.
it's a lot faster there because it's automatic and TikTok is because it has to be me. But where am I seeing the most engagement on the videos? TikTok.
It's TikTok, yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. Okay. Well, look, I mean, that's given us so much food for thought. Thank you so much, Kenya. I do have my 4 favorite questions to ask you, and I can't wait to see or what you are going to say here. But first question is this: what is your favorite book for us to add to our accelerator book list?
I would say it would probably be the Magic Story, and I don't think
Ooh,
that it's a reading book. I think it's because when I used to teach network marketing trainings, I would always play this like DVD, but now it's on YouTube, and so it's called the Magic Story. It's going to seem
okay.
really dumb when you start listening to it, but when you get to the end, most people are bawling their eyes out, and they just come alive when they listen to the Magic Story.
All right. Wow. Okay. This is not what I've heard of. So I'm going to check this out. If anyone wonders why I'm crying this afternoon, they know. So I love it. If you could have a superpower, any superpower, what would it be and why?
The superpower would be to be able to go in and out of places undetected and take things with me. And that would be so I can go into banks and take billions of dollars and nobody knows I took billions of dollars.
I was where my head went was, oh, she gone to the set of Friends for sure and take like one of the souvenirs or something. But no, you're thinking full on bank theft.
Bank heist. Because I'm like, I won't ever want to work again a day in my life. And if I can take all the money, let's go.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We're going to like totally cut that. No, we're not. I think that's hilarious. So, oh my goodness. So, the last person that I asked that question said I'd have the power of healing so I could heal anyone of a disease. And Kenya's like, heck
Oh.
no, I'm going to rob a bank.
Well, if I got the money, I can let them go to Spain. I can send them to
That's
all the
true.
different places, get the best care.
she's, she's digging the hole. We're going to get out of here. All right. Let's move on to the next question. Kenya, what's your favorite quote?
Tough times never last, tough people do.
Ooh, good one. I do
Yeah.
like that. I don't know who said that one. Do you know who said that one?
No, I
No.
signed that on all my books. I signed it on everything. It's
Yeah,
just yeah.
Kenya said that. That's Kenya's quote. I love it. Last one, but by far my favorite, is if you could go back in time and say one thing to your past self, what would that be?
Mm, it would be start therapy earlier.
Yes.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
therapy. I'm such a big fan of therapy. And I didn't start going to therapy until after I went through divorce. But what I realized if I was in therapy
Mhm.
as like a 20-year-old, there's like certain decisions that I wouldn't have made because I would have been a more of a healed version of myself. But the
Yeah.
40-year-old
Yeah.
me thanks the 30-year-old me but I wish I
You
could have
know,
done that sooner.
it's so interesting you say this. I was actually chatting with Greg about this yesterday, saying that, and I went through a divorce in my late 20s, and
Mhm.
so Greg is my second attempt at marriage, and
Mhm.
hopefully will be my
The
last. But
last.
but I did say to him that when I went through my first marriage, there was this fear of therapy or getting counseling because I thought that means you're broken. I don't want to admit that there's a
Mhm.
problem. And I thought if we start marriage counseling, for example, that's the end. Like no one survives marriage counseling. You go
Mhm.
there, that's it. Marriage over, done, dusted. Um, but I see things so differently now. And that most of the strongest relationships I see are the ones where they do both individual, so they do
Mhm.
therapy where they deal with their own stuff, but they also do things together. And it's Greg and I actually really love that part of the process because we see it
Mhm.
as an opportunity to learn and grow. It's such a
Yeah.
difference in mentality, but I 100% agree with you. I think that's a really,
Mhm.
really important one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
learned that back when I was in network marketing, a quote that says, "Either you're growing or you're dying."
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And
true.
yeah, and so I'm like, if I can grow as an individual, you can too, and then we can, good God, like,
Yeah.
who are we? How great will our
Yep.
marriage be, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, so true.
Mhm.
But I think a lot of people, I know for me, I didn't see therapy as growth. I saw
No.
it as fixing, or
Yes.
trying to fix something that's broken, or,
Yes.
but there's actually, I need to look up what the name of these bowls are in a moment. But there's a story I'm kind of putting together at the moment. Do you know about the Japanese bowls that they
Mm.
when they break? There's an art that they have where they put them back together with gold. So they use gold to essentially glue them back together, and these bowls are known to be very rare,
Mm.
very rare, but also very, very, very valuable. And they are stronger than the original bowls. So they're known. The whole thing around this is because it was broken, it gets put back together, but it's better in its new strength, but it's also more
Wow.
beautiful in its new form. And so I've been trying to buy one of these bowls. They are insanely expensive because the thing is that you can't make 100 of them the same. So every
Right.
single one is unique because it's been broken in its own way. And then they get glued back together with gold, and so they're
Wow.
also incredibly beautiful. So it just made me think of what we're like as humans when we
Yeah.
go through um, any kind of pain and suffering, and that
Mhm.
you come out stronger, but also more beautiful and more
Correct.
amazing in your not fixed, but in your I guess you put back together form.
Yeah,
So
your heel
yeah,
form. Mhm. For
yeah.
sure. Yep. Mhm.
Kenya, what's next for you? Where are you headed? What exciting things can we see on the horizon for Kenya? Or is it all top secret? We can't hear about it right now.
No top secret. I am one of my biggest things I am focused on right now is
Okay, just
marriage, like
oh,
remarriage. I'm like trying my best. I am out and about letting everybody know who I am, what I am, because I'm like, I've been divorced now for 10 years and I'm like, I'm a much more healed person. So I'm like avidly dating, and I'm like from a healed version standpoint. So I'm like, business is great. We'll do all that. But I'm like, let's go and meet amazing people and get
yeah.
remarried at some point.
Wow. Okay. So if anyone's listening to this, they're like, she's my type of gal. She's put a
Yeah.
hand up. You are by far, I have to say, probably the most fun person I've had on this
Oh,
podcast. I love
thank
it.
you.
She's like fully out there. Just this is who I am. I'm gonna rob a bank and I want a
Yeah.
husband. Come and get me.
Like, let's
Oh, I
go.
love it. Kenya, if people want to find you, where can they find you? I'm assuming on TikTok.
Yeah.
And can you quickly tell us a little bit about your book if anyone wants to grab a copy of your amazing book as well?
Yeah. So my book is called Before You Quit Your Job, A Strategic Guide for Entrepreneurs. I decided to write it as a result of being in network marketing for many years
Mm,
because I love the industry, but oftentimes I think people quit their jobs too soon. They don't really know how to
mm,
be a business owner. They know how to make money, but not how to run a business. And I saw a lot of people have a lot of trouble, with life and all that as a result of quitting their jobs too soon. And because of the content creator industry, people are just quitting too soon. So
yep,
that's why I wrote that book because I really wanted people to be equipped on here's what all happens when you go into full time entrepreneurship. So it's good to do, but it's important to like know what's going on.
yep.
But if you guys want to connect with me, obviously my website is KeenyaKelly.com. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, everywhere. However, if you follow me on TikTok, it's amazing, but there are about 20 spam accounts. They will immediately follow you back and talk to you. You'll know it's me if it has 500,000 followers. And I have to
Okay.
warn people because they always come after people trying to get money out of them.
Wow. Okay. All right. So look for the one with 500,000 followers. We will put the links, guys, in the
Yes.
podcast notes, the show notes. So you've got them there. But thank
Mhm.
you so much, Keenya, for joining us today, for being so um, uh, amazingly generous with your time and your
Oh,
knowledge.
yeah.
And I can't wait to hear and see so much more from you. I know our listeners are going to love you as much as I do. So thank you for being you. I think that's the biggest thing. Thank you so much for
Oh,
being you.
yeah.
I
Thank you
love
so
it.
much for having me. I appreciate it.
Such an honor. And thanks, of course, to our beautiful listeners. We can't wait to see you on the podcast again next week. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our upcoming episodes. And we'll see you next week. Bye for now, everybody. Thank you for joining us in this episode of the Direct Selling Accelerator podcast. If you love listening and you found that this was helpful for your direct selling business, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also check out the recommended video that's popped up on your screen right here. I look forward to seeing you again next time. Bye for now.